Well, it's another morning and we've got to get some air in the kayak. Yep, it's just, look at that, another cloudless sky. Noisy old pump, which I finished at the moment. Just got to do the seat bases, which take it all takes 1.5 psi, which with that makes life a little bit easier. And what are we? We're about 9ish, 8:45 in the morning. So the lake is about 200 meters down through the wood there. So we've got the wheels that we'll use again to get down to the lake. And we are so looking forward to a fantastic paddle out on the water. Look at the top of the trees there, hardly a breath of wind, perfect for a bit of a paddle. There's probably a bit of a breeze down on the lake, but once we've got into that fabulous gorge, then it'll probably be A, very hot, and B, nice and sheltered. Right, time to get this one finished off. Right, there we go, ready to go. Time to go find that lake. And just across from the campsite where we've just left, got this lovely little walk straight the way down to the lakeside. How good is that? Ready for a paddle, Rez? Oh yes. Oh yes, packed lunch, yep. Got the packed lunch on board. Got everything. Another fun day in paradise. Wow. I said the wind was dying down, or there might be a breeze on the surface of the lake, but there isn't. It's like glass. Wow. What a day for a toddle out on the canal, on the lake. Isn't that fabulous, guys? Look at that. So we're going in that direction where the camera's pointing, and then sort of slightly round to the right, and off we'll go. Look how clear that water is as well.
You've got their umbrella out there, Rob.
Yeah, somebody got a little dinghy out there with their portable umbrella. They'll certainly need it if they're out there. We've got the sun factor 2 million today in the bag. Might need a reapplication. Oh my god, look at that. That's going to be terrible, isn't it? Having to kayak in crystal clear water like that. That's going to be just awful. I'm not looking forward to this at all. I'm not looking forward to this, are you? No. No. Look at that for a mill pond. Right, time to get her launched and get the wheels detached and a life vest on, and that's and we'll be off. Wow, isn't that incroyable? It is definitely probably the calmest water we've ever been in, isn't it? A couple of paddle boarders out there. What a lovely day for paddle boarding as well. Well, you can see we're just following those two paddlers up ahead, and we're about to get probably round this bend, the first view of the gorge. And there, straight ahead, you can see, in fact, if I just take the camera out, so you can see in the distance over there, that's the bridge that we went over yesterday, which is the entrance into the gorge. You can see as well that the car parks on the right here, they've got loads of kayaks and pedalos and electric boats for hire. So if you weren't bringing your kayak with you, then dead easy to hire one. Each end of the lake as well, there's some other hire place. The lake's about, gosh, it's pretty long. It's about 7 or 8 miles long. But there are places to hire kayaks, supboards, pedalos, lecky boats, as I say, at both ends, so you've got loads of options rather than having to pack one of these into the garage of your moho. Right, bit more paddling required, and you can see what I mean about boat and pedalo hire. Over there, back there, just one or two for you to choose from. There's also incidentally quite a bit of park up space around the lake. Up the top there, we've passed when we were out on Peggy a lot of park up areas potentially if you wanted to wild camp here. Some signs out obviously saying they prefer you not to, but there are other areas which are clearly okay for off-gridding, and what a spot, eh? What a spot to off-grid. Little picnic over there in the woods. But there's loads of spaces set aside with shade and for parking all the way around the lake. Beautifully managed facility in terms of, you know, getting access. But just look at the scale of it coming up now. Just absolutely enormous gorge edges. To think that over those tens of thousands of years a river has cut its way down through there. That's just phenomenal to imagine. But it's getting a bit like the M25 now, with all these higher places around. So you can see up ahead there, it's quite busy under the bridge, so we'll do a bit of kayak dodging, I expect. Look at that electric wakeboard going down there with a guy standing up on it. That is awesome bit of kit. God, that does look fun. Do you think we could fit one of them in the garage, Res? Well, we're into the gorge. We're into the gorge, isn't that fantastic? Wow. Here even the swallow calls as they flit about here are echoing, as are of course the humans. Wow, look at those caves. Thousands of years to carve out. Fantastic spot for the swallows, they're loving that. Or San Martins or whatever they are. Swift. It didn't look too expensive. I'll stick some prices up on the screen if I can find out what it costs to hire. But I seem to remember it was only 20 or 30 euros to hire for about 4 hours. So but I'll clarify that and stick something up on the screen, give you an idea of what it might cost to hire one or two of these watercraft, which, as you can see, is quite a popular pastime. Wow, there's a nice little bit of shade under here. Look at that above us. Wow. It's that very overused phrase again, wow. Or, oh, look at that. That is cool. Oh yeah, I love that. Nikki filming the wonders. And wouldn't you just, eh? Wow, look at that. Caves up under there. And fascinating formations as well. All dripping, it's sort of moss, silt and rock. Look at that. When it's still so hot, I mean, when we set off it was over 30 degrees, so for there still to be water coming out of the ground is seems quite unlikely, but at this depth, making its way through the rock. And some very welcome little bit of shade. Oh, sounds like somebody's doing a bit of jumping. Fantastic. Got to have a dip in this, haven't we? Got to have a dip. So it's just shallowing down out there. You can see everybody's having to get out and push a bit. So we've come about got to be about 2.5 miles beyond the bridge. So we're going to turn around here because we don't fancy dragging and pushing the kayak or carrying it, and we're going to find some rocks for a picnic lunch, which just has to be done, doesn't it? You see up ahead there, just in the trees, there's a guy who's parked up his canoe and he's got his hammock out and he's slung his hammock between a couple of trees. Wouldn't that be nice, eh? There we go, look at that. Had enough of canoeing for a while. Get your hammock out, why not? We've got paddle school over there. They've been messing around, there's a big group of them, that's great. Somebody doing some yoga over there. Well, we've tied up, found a very convenient tree route, and I think it's time. Oh, look at that lovely dragonfly on the back of the boat there. Beautiful thing. And it's time for our little picnic. Tough spot for a picnic, isn't it, eh? Look at that up there. Paragliding. Absolutely lovely. Over our picnic stop, eh? Enjoy your picnic?
It's not bad for a picnic stop, is it?
Hey, not bad. We had a bit of tuna, mayo in there. Even found some Ritz crackers in that place in Spain, didn't we?
We did.
Oh, Ritz crackers.
Crisps, obviously, to replace
yes,
the salt.
Bit of crisps.
For medical purposes only.
Oh yes, yeah. And a couple of biscuits to obviously replace the sugar, or to make sure we got enough sugar to get us back. So, you know, all
perfectly acceptable.
Perfectly acceptable. And it may, of course, involve some ice cream reward later, will it?
Might do after another few miles kayaking.
Oh, a few miles? What, like a mile?
Well, you've got about 5 to do to get back. So.
Yes, yeah. I think you'll deserve an ice cream reward. Going in for a swim, eh?
Might do.
Shells off very deep, doesn't it? I think it's probably a bit slightly colder than the lake, but not much though, to be fair. When we were just getting out then, it was actually really pleasant, so very nice way to cool off. Nikki and I think a new business opportunity might be to buy 20 kayaks, and you couldn't go wrong, could you? No motors to maintain, very little maintenance. Hire them out on the end here, non-stop. What a summer season you'd have, eh? Now, question for some of you nature-loving people: why do the bits of wood here float vertically in the water? I mean, what would that do to a game of poo sticks? That's weird, isn't it? Why do they float vertically? Answers on a postcard or in the comments below. Just up there where that bit of rock is sticking up like a finger of rock, so just to the right of that is the road that goes between, goes to the right of that finger of rock. That's the one we were in yesterday. We came along that, filmed a little bit of that. Look like tiny ants up the hillside. Amazing to think they actually got a road in going up there. Gosh, that must have taken a bit of engineering. Well, the kayak's abandoned. It had to be done. Nicky's out there for a swim in this. It's like an amazing amphitheatre of rock. Fantastic sound echoes. And to be fair, I need to go and join her as well. There we are, just coming back towards the bridge you can see in the distance there. What an amazing 2 or 3 hours paddling that was. Just beautiful. I mean, obviously it'd be nice to have it all to yourself, but it's just fantastic. Thoroughly recommend a paddle down here if you get the opportunity, guys. Such a lovely part of the world. Just coming in on the parascending, look at that. Wow. Whoa, beautifully landed. And we're just trying to, oh yes, there's an ice cream place, well spotted. Nicky's in turbo drive now. Look, and just before we land, Rez, so 5 places there, those are pedalos I think, so yeah, so that'll be an hour, 20 euros, 2 hours 35, 3 hours 50, so that's 5, you could take up to 5 people on that. So that's the pedalos, and if I can see a kayak cost, oh yeah, probably on the one over there, I'll let you know what that is. And another graceful landing coming in by the looks of it. Wow, look at that. Well, with Nicky's homing beacon, ice cream shop homing beacon, she spotted one. It's got eyes like a hawk for an ice cream flag. And so we've, yeah, exactly, we've kayaked 20 miles to get here, kayaks down there. And valuables in a dry bag, great bit of kit. Take anything you want. Look at that moho over there, finding a bit of shade under the trees. Everybody hunting shade. It's got to be in the sun, it's got to be mid-30s now. Spectacular day, absolutely lovely. Is it as awful as ever?
Terrible.
I had to, of course, quality control what Nicky was going to make sure that it was fit for human consumption, and I can confirm it is fit for human consumption. There we go, there's a price. So single canoe, 1 hour 15, and then sort of gets cheaper in effect by the hour, so for 4 hours 40 euros, and a 2-person canoe, 20 for an hour, 50 for 4 hours. So that gives you the, there you go, there's a plan for where we've been under the bridge, went all the way down to the end there. And of course that was the road we took Peggy along yesterday, and those amazing views we got. Lovely. Wow, always make it look so graceful. Oh, and another one coming in. Looks like a tandem one. Is that a tandem one? Which of course you can do here. I haven't seen the price list for those yet. There's also another thing they do which is called a float, where you can go in organised groups and you can float down a part of the gorge with sort of buoyancy aids, and they take you obviously to bits that perhaps aren't as readily accessible. So there's literally any and every way that you can get yourself around the gorge here. Look at that, amazing. Well, at the moment it still looks graceful. What will the landing be like? Wow, beautifully done. Anybody thought he's done that before? So we're about halfway back. Halfway back to, or probably a bit more than halfway back, but look, we've got our own beach. So we had to stop, go for a swim. Looking pretty good, isn't it?
It is.
Isn't it, eh? Absolutely fab. Few boats. Wind's going that way, but there is a tiny bit of current going that way because the dam, the EDF hydroelectric power dam, is down that way. Well, there's the campsite. What do we think of that then?
That was just.
Oh my word. Wasn't it just? What's the time? It is 4 o'clock, so we've been out about 6.5, 7 hours. Something like, how far do you reckon?
I reckon we've kayaked about 10 miles.
About 10? Yeah, probably from here to the gorge and then down the gorge, yeah. Yeah, so 10 miles, fab. What a fab day that was. So, hope you enjoyed that, and a look at the gorge as well. And we will bring you, no doubt, some more trips around this fabulous spot here at Lac Sainte-Croix and Camping Les Ruisses.
And some more gorging.
Oh yes.
Did you see what I did there?
Yeah.
Ice cream.
Oh. Of course, ice cream is an absolute must. See you guys. Well, guess what day it is today? It's a day of leisure. It's a day of relaxing in a little electric boat. Another day, some more water in the Verdon Gorge. And isn't that fabulous? So yeah, this is obviously the other way to see the Verdon Gorge, powered by a little Torpedo electric motor that Nicky's charging along with, flat out.
7.1 knots. No,
7.2 knots. Charging along the gorge. We picked up the boat at 9. We just got a little 3-hour trip. Now we're at the lower end, the sort of southern end of Lake Sainte-Croix. So we did the northern end by the kayak, as you probably saw, and then we've come to the other side of the HEP dam, and we're letting the electric motor take the strain today. So it gives you an idea of price here. So we paid 80 euros for 3 hours. If you went to their full all day long, it'd be 120 euros. Or if you did the next one down, is a 5-hour one, and that's 90 euros. You can hire it for just an hour if you want, which is 30 euros. And that's for anything up to 4 people. So if you wanted something larger, there are larger boats that do either up to 6 people or indeed up to 8 people, depending on how big your party is. But anyway, after having a little look from this level, then we also took the drone up. So we also took the drone out, and so have a look at some of this footage of a lovely, very tranquil and peaceful trip in the gorge. There was very little on the water this morning, but we're now about 11ish on the way back, so there's a bit more in the water now, but literally we had the place to ourselves when we first set off about 9, and so check out some of this footage and you'll see another angle of the Verdon Gorge. And just before we take to the air there, incidentally, on the side of the boat, they give you a really good idea in that they tell you how long it takes for a return journey. So for us, we were the 3-hour trip there, so 3 hours return. We started up here, so hour and a half each way takes you down to there. And then in fact not far beyond that, just up this way, that's where the hydroelectric powered dam is. That is the southern or southwestern end of the Lac Sainte Croix. So that just gives you a sort of geographical idea of where we are. And then you've got that massive lake Sainte Croix, and then we kayaked obviously up the other end. But you can see there's a few spots of interest that they pick out on the little route that we're on. And that's where we started, heading off under that bridge there on the edge of a little town called Quinson, just there. Anyway, have a look at this aerial shots. Well, that was a lovely bit of aerial footage as well, wasn't it? And you can just see up there, there are some railings and some artificial sort of supports being built, because the final way you could see the gorge, if you didn't want to do it from the water, is there is actually a path. Incredibly, they have managed to get a path in along this southern edge of the gorge here, which is amazing. So there's literally every way to explore the beautiful Verdon Gorge, and it's well worth exploring, as I think you'll probably have seen from some of that beautiful footage that that awaits you if you end up down here in your moho, or camping or caravanning or whatever it may be. But thoroughly recommend some days down here. Not far away from our finish point now, back at Quinson. And we very much hope you've enjoyed that little look at the slightly different look at the gorge this morning. There you've got that path going along there. You can just pick out the railings. What a fantastic job they've done of getting a path in there to go along the side of the gorge. Brilliant. A little bit overcast this morning when we were coming across here. It was only in the sort of mid-20s, but now the bit of cloud has cleared when we got to Quinson, and it very quickly went up, probably up towards 30 now. Just in the last couple of days of June now, so it will no doubt get even hotter, but it's just such a lovely temperature here. After that long cool winter we had in the UK, it did seem to go on forever, didn't it? Quite a project just to build this path. Amazing. And there we go, just coming back to just under the Pont de Quinson, the Quinson Bridge, and Electronautic was the company we used, and they're just on the left hand side, up there on the left, about 300 metres away. One or two companies here, in fact. Pedalos, kayaks, the usual methods to get up and down the gorge here if you fancy hiring some water transport. Also some where we parked up for this place, just over the trees on the left there, where you can see where the boats are docked in the distance, and then the trees behind to the left as we're looking at it. Big area to camp in there, free. They've got some toilets there, gravel surface and not marked bays, so if you've got a bigger unit then you'd have no problem getting in there. And indeed on the run into Quinson town itself there were a number of spots for off-gridding where we saw one or two vans. Looks like there's some more space over there. See one or two vans hiding under the trees. But it's very, as those of you who have been to France already will know, that there's fantastic amounts of open space and off-grid area if you fancy saving your pennies and doing as much off-grid as you can. Very well catered for, and Quinson here in the Verdon Gorge is no exception. So you've got everything from your air to camping free, from your camping car, which are those cheap ones, barrier controlled, sort of next one up from an air. Then you've got your municipal camping that we're at, Camping Les Ruisses, on the Lac St. Croix, and then and then you've got your probably more expensive, but I say more expensive, they're probably mid-30s at the most if you wanted, one of the big pitches, service pitch, you'd be mid-30 €, that is, so about 30 quid tops really a night. So really everything to suit your budget. And of course plenty of places that allow you to just pop in, sometimes for €4 or €5 to pop in and service the moho if you've been off gridding, so you can replenish fresh, dump grey water, dump black water, any of that sort of thing. So no issues with being able to just pop in and do that and back out again in some of the campsites, but also there's obviously some of the airs have got those facilities as well. So, little medieval village, Moustiers-Sainte-Marie. Just almost got back from our Electronautic boat trip, so we're back round the eastern side of Lac St. Croix. Just on the northeastern side is this little medieval village nestled into the mountain. Look at that, right up the top there, that the church and the spire built into the rock there. Wow, stunning. Little streets weaving their way up towards the mountain itself. I suppose it was a hell of a spot to build a village back in those days, up high. See all your foes coming. Wow, look at that. Whoa, isn't that pretty? There's a lovely little restaurant down there. I can feel a bit of lunch coming on. Look at that, the river's cascading down there, beautiful. Another little bridge. Oh, we'll have to take you around the village here and show you a bit more of this. Looks lovely. And some very pretty hanging baskets too. Another nice little dining spot there. Wow. Absolutely delightful. And in the Verdon region here, in and around Lac St. Croix, then there are 4 or 5 apparently villages which are similar in nature. Really date back many centuries. They're just such pretty spaces to have a wander around. Bit of artsy crafty stuff, of course, plenty of places to grab a bite to eat, and being about what is it now, 1:15, we'll definitely be finding a little hostelry in one of these little streets for a spot of lunch, don't you think? Peggy's tucked up, squeezed into a parking space, dropped her lock on as you do. Good old Boss alarm lock, that one. You can have it on alarm or off alarm depending on which way you've got the padlock round, or the hasp into the padlock. Depends on whether it's alarmed or not. Good bit of kit that. It's only about 70 or 80 quid. But really heavy chain and a pretty substantial lock, that's for sure. Take quite a bit of getting through. Ready? Nikki's all sun creamed up, ready to rock and roll and find some lunch, eh?
Yes.
Look at all that. Get absolutely loads in good old Peggy. One helmet in there, one helmet, couple of jackets in that, and it's only the 29 litre one. Another little storage at the back there. Pack it all in. A monument. Not sure to what. Doesn't look military, but very nice. Oh look, they've got a little tourist train as well. Gets an extra long parking space, which is fair enough if you drive one of those. Nikki's on the hunt for restaurants. Wow, look at that little bridge right up there. Some people up there. Looks like there's a path zigzagging up to the chapel or monastery or whatever it is up there. La Cascade was the name. We're going to go and follow the steps, which we think takes us to that little terrace area. What a lovely way into a restaurant. Which unsurprisingly translates as the Waterfall, as its name. Well, we've had a little stroll up the town, had our lunch, or strolled up the village. Look at some of those. Look at that lovely little balcony over there on the right to have your grub. Isn't that amazing? Overlooking the little waterfall over the other side here. So pretty. Let's see if we can make our way up towards the spire there. You're certainly not short of trinket shops and food. Plenty of both. Some very old buildings here as well. Look at that for a backdrop. Not much of a back garden on these ones, but what a vertical garden that is. God, I just noticed that. Look at that right up there on a wire going across the gorge there. There's a star right in the middle, just about above that spire we saw a second ago. Wouldn't fancy mowing the back lawn up there though, would you? Well, we're gradually making our way along towards the Pont du Rieu in the village here. Ah yes, I think that's the one. I've just come through the gap here. I think that's it in the distance there that we saw when we first came in and showed you that bit. Looked up through that gorge. It goes up and up. And the it's like the riverbed's actually dried out down there. Probably a trickle right at the bottom. And we did, in the last 10 minutes, actually have a shower as well. A tiny shower came by, as you can see by the slightly dull clouds, but it seems to have moved away now. Still up in the upper 20s, so it's just a warm shower basically. And look, just coming to sight there, right in the distance. That's the Lac Sainte-Croix, and in fact on the opposite bank, as we're looking at it now, probably almost in line with where we are, is roughly where the Camping Les Ruisses, where we are currently staying, until tomorrow when we start wending our way back. Oh, some lovely freshwater fountains again. Going way back into the rock there. Oh, lovely. Cold and fresh. And these lovely shops cut into the side of the... I suspect they were lovely old houses in their day. Lots of local honey. Yes. Ah, yes. Chapelle de Beauvoir. Looks like it's going to involve climbing, but still, it'll work off some of our chips for lunch, won't it? Well, we're getting there. We're on our second bridge, having come up from down there, a little square there where we were a second ago, and then just see up above us there is the little chapel building, so not far to go, a bit more zigzagging. Definitely lost a chip or two up those few steps. Olive groves, fruit trees, and then just up on top on the plateau there, where we came back on Peggy this morning, acres and acres of lavender, oregano, other herbs, bees galore, beehives galore, lots of local lavender honey, and wow, it is rich in just about everything, beauty especially. And look at that down there, you can just see in the distance the roofs of 3 big mohos down there, so there's moho space. In fact, as we speak, another couple coming down the road there. A popular spot, and we're not even in the French holidays yet, that's about the first week in July, when it definitely does get busy. So yes, if I haven't said it before, if you're planning a visit this way, then if you can do it before about July the 5th, July the 7th, then May, June is a lovely time to do it. Plenty of space, plenty of vacancies everywhere, and all of this fab scenery to take in. Well, we made it, zigzagging all the way up from down there. That's got rid of at least 27 ships, I think. And this is the what we were seeing from right at the bottom of the village. Last few steps there into the église, the church. Hopefully not into the cimetière, the cemetery. I lied, I came through the gate. And there was another load of steps. Yeah, that finally looks like the spire there, so can't stop now. Wow, talking about 17th century. Wow, what a place. I mean, how do you build, eh? How do you build? Surely it would have been easier to build it in the middle of that field down there. There's loads of space next to the tennis court. But no, they came all the way up here with every last brick and stone, and instead of the field by the tennis courts, it's up here. But joking aside, just an incredible place for a building, and an incredible building. Oh, look at that eagle up there. Look at that. What good timing that was. Absolute beaut. Wow, that was incredible. Really cool in there, as you can imagine, with these massive thick walls. And then just almost that zero light, just enough for the stained glass windows there and the candles. Beautiful building, beautiful.